In this video, what I'll be doing is going over the exact visualization techniques that I used that got me to my first 15,000 per month in sales. Now, this is gonna be a lot different than my normal videos. I typically go over questions, tonality, objections. I focus more on the skill-based aspects of sales. But this topic is important to me and my success, but I don't see much if anyone talk about it, especially in the sales space. And I know this topic can sound a little bit woo-woo.
It's that woo-woo, you know what I'm saying?
But hear me out. Just so you have a bit of context. When I first got into sales, I got a SaaS sales job right away, right out of college. So that's software as a service if you don't know. And I did pretty well right off the bat. And I was making over 100,000 in my first year as a fresh college grad in Miami. So not too bad. But for me, I felt like I needed to get into selling coaching and high ticket online sales because the sales, number one, they seemed a lot more fun. And number two, there was just a lot higher ceiling that you could make more in that space. So I went out looking and I met a sales manager for a large online coaching business that was in the top 200 of the Inc. fastest growing companies in the USA the past year. The sales manager ended up loving me, like everyone does, right? And he wanted me to head a new offer where they're branching out and they really wanted to scale it up. So for a bit of context, their main offer was a YouTube ads coaching offer. But in order to actually qualify for that coaching offer, you had to already be making 30,000 per month. So it limited the amount of people they can bring on. So they wanted another offer where it could get you to that first 30,000 per month organically. And bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I dropped everything. I dropped my previous job and I jumped into this new offer and it was commission only. And what happened? It tanked. They didn't put much behind the offer. They placed another closer who was the top closer on their ads offer. And for the first 2 months of the new offer, what he closed at was 6%.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you heard me right. Only 6%. Now, I closed 3 times as high, but that was still below 20%. So it wasn't enough for them to want to actually keep the offer around. So they pulled the plug to just focus on scaling the ads offer, which they know would work. Now, since I was only on the new offer and I hadn't sold the other offer and they did not feel like they needed any more closers for the ads offer, I was out of a job. This was right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. And if you know anything about sales, this is the slowest time of the year, so nobody was hiring. So for 3 months, I had absolutely zero income. I was relying on savings and I even had to have my girlfriend at the time pay rent. In order to actually start getting some income coming in, I took the very first sales job I could get my hands on. And it was making me around 3,000 per month. It wasn't that good of an offer. They didn't have really great marketing, but I was trying to make it work. And 3,000 in Miami doesn't really go far. So for me, I took a big risk. It blew up in my face. And I was pretty distraught. Like I needed money and the stress was at an all-time high. And this was not helping me with my health issues I was having at the time. I was pushing and pushing, but putting more hours and trying harder wasn't working and only causing my health to take a decline. But by sheer luck, I actually came across a book that delved into things like quantum physics and things like the observer effect and the power of consciousness. Now, for me, I used to be a staunch materialist. And if that's you, again, stay with me. The biggest shift I made is letting go of my need. And I know what you're saying, but Christian, I need to push and grind to make money. And you can make money grinding. And believe me, I did. But it often creates more distance between you and your actual goals. And for me, the distance was only getting further and I was pushing up against a wall. So what I started to do every day is I used my imagination to visualize myself making 15,000 each and every month as a closer and actually feeling those emotions. Not something that's in the distant future, but something that's in my reality now. I let go of my need and I let my mind know that I already had everything I needed. So there was no need or distance between me and my goals. Now, for a materialist, which I used to be, no longer, okay, this still works because your mind can't tell the difference between a real memory and an imagined memory. So studies actually show imagination alone can increase your muscle size and strength. And if you're familiar with Maxwell Malt's work, he was a plastic surgeon who fixed deformities. He observed that some of the people he performed surgery on and their deformities had been removed or fixed would still act as though they would have the deformity, whether being shy or socially awkward. Or some even claimed that they looked the same when clearly there was a distinct difference. While others who had their deformities fixed would have a drastic shift in their confidence and personality. So what he did is he went on a journey to find out why this was. And at the end of the journey, he found out it wasn't the surgery that made people make the shift or not. It was how they actually viewed themselves. The plastic surgery was just a catalyst for them to actually make that shift. And later, he focused on helping people shift their identity using their imagination, and he saw the same drastic shifts in people's confidence and personalities. Now, for people who are more spiritually inclined, I would include myself now, a verse from the Bible really struck a chord with me. It's Mark 11:24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall receive them. So it's the visualization and truly believing that you already have what you desire that brings it to you. So what I would do is every single day, I would follow a certain guided meditation where I would empty my mind, relax everything in my body, and I would play what my reality would look like and the feelings I would feel if I were making $15,000 each and every month. And I would do this for at least an hour each day. And in my school group, I give my students these exact tools and meditations I use and still use. Link in my description. Giving you an overview, it's creating the scenario that would only be possible with the goal achieved. You become completely relaxed and empty your mind. Then you play that scenario in your imagination through your eyes and feel those feelings as though it had happened. And you do this as vividly as possible. And you repeat until it starts to take the shape of reality in your mind. Do not imagine it as a third-party observer, but through your own eyes. But be careful, because those feelings shouldn't be a charge. You shouldn't be overly excited. Why?
Why?
Because that high can cause a low. So it's the most casual, you already have it type of feeling. For example, I love my Jaguar. I love driving it, but I'm not overjoyed driving it because I already have it. And you don't only want to feel this feeling when you're visualizing or meditating. It's a feeling you should have all day long. So you raise your internal vibrations to the reality of you already having your goal. So if it's at a real high, it's hard for you to keep it there. And when you feel that feeling that you already have it about your dream goal all day, that's when it magnetizes to you. Now, the best time to do this is when you first wake up, or ideally when you're going to bed, because this is when you're most suggestible during that time. Now, you don't have to do it for an hour each day, as long as you're able to truly feel it. For me, I had to continuously fight my mind to make sure I could feel those emotions, so that's why it took an hour, sometimes 2 hours every single day. But doing that and putting in the work, it only took me 3 months of doing that every single day before I was actually living that reality and I was on a new offer making $15,000 each and every month. And for sales reps, and for me personally, when I'm taking calls, I also use my imagination to rewrite history. If things don't go your way during the day, go back and imagine those things going exactly the way you would have liked. For sales, every single night before I go to bed, I get fully relaxed, control my breathing, let the tension of the day fall. I empty my mind, slow the racing thoughts, then I sit and I imagine every single sales call that I didn't close. I rewrite the history in my imagination that the prospects and I are having a great conversation, and I actually can see and hear them giving me their card information and excited to hop on board and me getting the sale. I'll imagine the sales calls on my calendar for the next day showing up and us having a great conversation and them giving me their cards and enrolling. And I really feel those emotions. This gives me the confidence and the right energy to show up to each of those calls and perform my best. So you should start implementing that right away. Before you go to bed tonight, rewrite your past calls and picture closing your future ones in the now. But a little fair warning. The pitfall that I fell into, and I've seen many others do as well, is once you hit your goal, you stop creating. You want to just hold on to what you've created. But my words of wisdom are, when you stop creating and you stop growing, you start dying. So consistently remind yourself of all you could be and that you can take it to the next level in your imagination and in your mind. Okay, so let me know if you've enjoyed this topic. I know this is going to be a little bit different than all my other videos, but this is something that's really important to me. So let me know if you want me to cover anything else when it comes to mentality, mindset, how to show up on sales calls. But if you like this one, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave comments on anything you took away.